What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Welcome to Saturday. We have a very cool show for you tonight. We're going to be talking to Dr. Mike of Ham Radio Deluxe, and he's going to walk us through some things. I've got some questions, and I know you all have questions in the chat. So make sure to just do a hashtag question or at Ham Radio Crash Course, and I will take those questions as we kick things off. Enjoy the memes. We'll get started soon. All right, James Cook, I see you there, bud. Thanks for all the comments, kicking things off. Right on. Andy Cowley, how's it going, buddy? Hey, B4UX1T3, passed my tech today, my first stream as a notional ham. Congratulations, buddy. All right, let's get things going here. How's it going, everybody? Appreciate you clicking on the Ham Radio Crash Course. Again, back on another Saturday. Really fun show. I really want to get started with it as fast as possible to get Dr. Mike on here as quickly as we can to answer questions. Hey, thank you, Dave Wade, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Really quickly, let's pull up our websites here to hit these. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and go to hamtactical.com. It's the merch store that my wife runs. All your merch ideas come from the podcast and our live streams and all the other fun stuff that we do. And yeah, reminder, November 11th, 12th, and 13th, we are going to Thomas Mountain Campground, and it is pretty much just a free-for-all camp out that we'll be having with Adam K6 ARK. It is a soda. I believe it is also a Poda. The link is in the description for the lat-long coordinates, and really it's just a easy trip if you can make it. Great, no big deal if you can't. It does require you to traverse a dirt road, and I say dirt road. It is not an off-road type situation. You probably can't take your Civic or your Accord over it, but having a CRV, probably okay. Or a Subaru. Subaru would be fine. Anything bigger than that, and you'll be golden. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I've got the check cleared from the wife to let me go do that, so hope you enjoy or come out and say hi. All right, so we're talking Ham Radio Deluxe today, and let's get rid of that. Where is it? There we go. Ham Radio Deluxe is a software package, and I don't want to go into any more detail than that without Dr. Mike being on the line here, but I do want to mention right up front, they've got this great deal for us. If you use the coupon code HRCC25 at checkout, you will get 25% off a license for Ham Radio Deluxe. So consider that. Keep that in mind. The link is in the description as we talk with Dr. Mike, because it's going to be enlightening. Let's bring him on right now. Dr. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, bud, how you doing? Greetings from down under.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We should clear this right up front. Dr. Mike, YouTube channel for Ham Radio Deluxe, right, is the YouTube channel. Want to make sure I get that right.
Yep, that's right.
Go check out the videos. You've been doing videos with Lindy, and you've been kicking it off with a nice little cocktail and a beer. It's really fun. It's really a relaxed discussion, kind of like we do out here. Now, I am drinking a beer. I have a very special local brewery, Brewery X, the Super Slap. It's their 3rd anniversary. Now, I was talking to Dr. Mike, and I'm like, well, are you going to be drinking with us? And I was like, oh, no, he's in Australia. What'd you say, 9 a.m. where you're at right now about?
Yeah, it's now 10 a.m. So I do have my Coke Zero is kind of in.
There you go.
That's got, from my Last Kiss concert. So I'm having a good day.
Yeah. So I will be having a beverage, and Mike is here to talk about Ham Radio Deluxe. So again, thank you for doing it. And before we kick things off, why don't you give a little background to people about yourself a little bit and kind of your ham journey, if you'd like, as I pull the questions up here.
Yeah, it's I've been at this since 1974. So I got licensed at the age of 13 as Whiskey November 9 Papa India Echo, which was one of those things where the guy that gave me my novice test, he said, in a few weeks, you'll get your ticket in the mail, give me a call. So I called him up. I said, I got my ticket. He said, what's your call sign? I said WN9PIE. He said, "You're joking."
Okay.
And so, because it's great. I mean, it is 6 characters, but it sends pretty quick as Morse code. So, but I've been doing this for a long time. I got, eventually upgraded to extra, I think, before I got out of high school. And so it really kind of invoked my, university studies at Purdue and electrical engineering. And I've had a career in telecommunications and in retail. I was the last CIO of Radio Shack Corporation.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So there you go. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really, boy, we'll have to have you back to talk about that. I was just at a ham fest last weekend, and there was a guy there who his claim to fame is that he cleared out 10 Radio Shack stores. He has the components drawers in his shack. He's got the drawers set up. So he's like rebuilt a Radio Shack in his ham shack, and he's got so much stuff from that. So I know that must have been an interesting time, to say the least.
It was.
All right. So for those uninitiated, Dr. Mike, tell people about Ham Radio Deluxe. It's a suite of ham tools, as I call it. But what are the primary applications and functions that you generally tell people about?
Yeah, they're depending on how you want to count them, there are 5 or 6 applications in the suite. And it's really meant to be kind of like the Microsoft Office, right? Where you've got all the things that you really need for office productivity. But this is really intended to be everything you need for ham radio productivity. So there's a rig control application, which a lot of rig control applications, although there have been some newer ones on the market, but a lot of rig control applications really just do frequency, mode, VFO changes, and that's about it. Ours, we actually program every what I call every on-air function into the software, so you can control it from one screen, and I'll show you that here in a few. Then we've got a logger, our Ham Radio Deluxe logbook. I actually think it's the best one there is. We've worked real hard to make it that way, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We've got a digital modes application called DM780. I will say this, it was a whole lot more popular when PSK31 was a thing, but we'll talk about how we use our applications with FTA.
Perfect. Yeah.
I've actually been, there's a RTTY contest on a few weeks ago, and I use it whenever there's a RTTY contest on. So it's still got a lot of utility.
That's when I use it most of the time is for RTTY. And videos I've done is demonstrating use of RTTY with Ham Radio Deluxe. I find it the easiest app to use.
It really is a lot easier than a lot of the ones I've tried. So, and then we've got a rotor control, and I'm in my ear, by the way. I've got logbooks set up to send me alerts.
Oh, yes.
Whenever there's I don't know if you're hearing them or not.
No, but I was earlier before you put the cans on. And yeah, that's one of the things it'll do too, is it'll tell you if there's an opening and whatnot. So it's kind of fun. It's almost like you're getting a page as an emergency responder. Like, oh, quick,
exactly.
There's an opening on 10 meters. I got to get out there quick.
Well, I'm missing DX while we're talking here. But
well, thank you for that.
There's a rotor control application, which is great because it's a graphical, illustration of the rotor and the map and all that stuff, and I think it's great. The satellite tracking application adjusts your radio for Doppler as the satellite passes, and it controls the azimuth elevation rotor, which I've got sitting right out there. I was hoping we would have an ISS pass during the meeting today, but
yes, didn't work.
That would have been a lot of fun.
That would be cool.
Because there's a whole lot of, I can work from here. I can work coast to coast Australia on satellites. I can also work, New Zealand easily, and probably up to Vanuatu and New Caledonia. So it's a lot of fun.
Indeed.
And then finally, we've got an application called Mapper, which you can plot all the things from your log onto this map, which is great. But what we're doing a lot of stuff with that, and I'll talk about that too. So
excellent.
we can that's the general overview. I mean, the logbook's got upload, download to everything you want to upload it to, and tracks your awards and all that stuff. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and that question was really for those uninitiated, but for everybody that's familiar with the suite of tools, it's a lot. There's a lot you can do, and so we're gonna try our best to break it down in the 50 or so minutes we have left here, which almost seems like a daunting task, and still take questions. So, how long has Ham Radio Deluxe existed?
Well, we acquired the intellectual property from the original author, a guy named Simon Brown.
Okay.
And we acquired that in late 2011. We incorporated in 2012. And Simon, his call sign at the time, HB9DRV. Some of you have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
He's now G4ELI, I think. He's moved from Switzerland back to Wales or England. But he was wanting to go a different direction with his life and with his hobbies and his efforts. So he wanted to go work on his SDR project. He wasn't going to do any more work on Ham Radio Deluxe, which I thought was a shame because it's great.
Yeah.
And so I offered to acquire it, and it took quite some time to talk him into it. But we eventually did. So as of 2012, we started producing free versions of the software, which we did for a period of time in 2012 and started selling it mid to late 2012, I think.
Yeah, very good. So Ham Radio Deluxe to me has always kind of appeared as an all-inclusive software package. I think you use the term like Microsoft Office, basically, like a suite of tools. So with so many digital modes popular today, I think you kind of already dipped into PSK31 being one of the more useful type modes, or RTTY, right? How does HRD, and HRD is obviously the acronym for Ham Radio Deluxe, handle this kind of shift to modes like FT8? You kind of talked about how that's all going to look in the future. So I think FT8's obviously, I think it's safe to say it's here to stay. So how are you, how is HRD going to integrate with, or is already integrating with FT8?
Yeah, we integrate with WSJTX and JTDX. I use WSJTX. In fact, over the course of the last year, I'm definitely a part of the FT8 crowd. I mean, my log over the last year, 2,500 QSOs, 96 or 97% FT8.
Yep.
So, and it's all automatically populated from WSJTX into logbook, using the new feature HRD alert, which is great because it shows me. And then the nice thing about the logbook is, and I'll show you my log here in a moment.
Excellent.
Because I worked a new one earlier this morning when I was getting ready for the show.
Good.
But it's the nice thing about it is whether it's digital modes, whether it's CW or voice, it will show you what you need to work. And you don't have to maintain a wanted list or whatever. It just knows what you need to work, whether it's a DXCC country, grid, CQ ITU zone, US county, which is kind of cool because I don't think it's a lot of other software activity on US county. So a lot of cool stuff there.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm sure everybody's going to be excited to see that when we get to that point.
We're going to work some FT8 here.
Okay. Good. Well, I can get the FT8 going and try and point at you if we're lucky.
Yeah.
We might be able to make something happen.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. So I was watching one of your recent videos, which again, I encourage everybody to go check out their channel, Ham Radio Deluxe. And you mentioned kind of the evolution of HRD, which you have picked it up from the original creator. And as you were talking about it, and this is for all our IT folks in the show that's watching right now, Microsoft Access, right? A big part of kind of what it was built upon. So you're stepping away from that. You're kind of rebuilding is the wrong term, but you're sliding off from Microsoft Access. So what does that mean in terms of support and advantages you're picking up?
Yeah, we actually, when Simon wrote it, Windows XP was the thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the underlying software was really built to support Windows XP, and including Access and Microsoft, a lot of folks, the IT folks will probably know this, but as Microsoft kept producing new versions of Office, the Word and Excel files were always kind of backward compatible and you could still open them. They didn't do that with Access for some reason.
Yeah.
And so, Access is still version dependent, and which is really problematic now. So, we spend a lot of time trying to help people with, what ends up being Access version issues. And so I would say probably this affects, 7% of the population. And so we go in and, end up putting them on MariaDB or MySQL or something to kind of get them going. So we're moving towards SQLite, and it's outrageously fast. We've already got it. I can't show it to you today, but we've got it in alpha. And it's just going to speed things up tremendously. So we're looking forward to that. Right now, Logbook is being rebuilt from scratch, from the ground up.
All right.
And hoping to have that out before the holidays. And
Okay.
then we'll go to rig control, we'll go to digital modes and kind of go through the whole suite and modernize the whole thing.
That's fantastic. So good news for everybody that's, sticking with Ham Radio Deluxe. It's going to get faster and faster, regardless of how new your computer is, considering it was built the XP days. But so that's good news. So I've always appreciated the level of controls and options you get with Ham Radio Deluxe. Like we've been talking about it this whole time. There's different applications, but then within each application, there's a ton of depth. Now, with that, I kind of imagine that, for a new user, it could feel like drinking from a fire hose. How do you recommend people get started with Ham Radio Deluxe?
Right. So first of all, we've got an online manual. So let me show you something. I'm going to share my screen.
Please, yeah. And I'll adjust things as we need to.
Oh, you need to enable me to share, bud.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, okay. See, this is what happens live, right? Go ahead. You should be good.
Okay. So I'm going to come over here, and I think you should be able to see this screen now. But one of the things that we've done, and you mentioned our YouTube channel, I'm not going to show you that, but on our support page, you can basically search for anything.
Uh-oh.
Lottery numbers for this weekend. I mean, if you put in WSJTX or JT here, it's going to tell you how to how to use it with automatic logging, how to set it up, how to configure it with multicasting, all that stuff. Because if you're using our software with our HRD alert function, and you're using Grid Tracker, and you're using JT Alert, and you're using several other things that need the data from WSJT, you need to enable multicasting, and this will show you how to do it. You basically just come down here and you kind of go through the instructions to get there.
Very helpful. Yeah.
So, but there is, more concisely to your point though, on our YouTube channel, there's a quick start video that basically just shows you how to, fire it up the first time, the minimal things you need to configure to get up and running. And most people start with rig control and logbook and then kind of jump into digital modes. The more advanced users probably getting into the satellite stuff and the rotor control.
Oh, for all you 705 users, it works fantastically with the 705 for doing the satellite passes, assuming you've got an appropriate antenna, but they work perfectly together.
Yeah, we bought a 705 right after it came out and sent it over to one of our beta testers in England, and it's just, he loves the thing.
It shows, because I plugged it in, and it was what I used for the satellite and ISS tracking video that I did live. Yeah. We used HRD plugged into my 705. It's just flawless. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of our approach on support and kind of getting, I mean, under the help menus, you'll find, we've got a user community, which has got a lot of people there, the YouTube channels, you can get to our release notes, online help. So, you're never too far away from the information. And then if you need us, we're there to support you. I've got people like, Ferry and Kevin that are right there waiting for people to call us. So we can help that way too.
Right on. So since you have the screen up, maybe this would be a good time to hop over to the satellite tracker. With the ISS tracking it for its digipeater being so popular right now, how does HRD kind of handle that? And I know we were hoping that there'd be a pass, but let's pretend like we're getting ready for a pass, maybe at least. So you pull it up, and then we'll see how it works there, and I'll do what I can to get myself out of the way.
There's one that's active right now, but it's over. Right now, my location set to Dallas, and so what we're seeing, there's a couple passes that are presently over Dallas, and I don't have them showing at the moment. If I want to see, so right now I was mentioning that my location, so I see the house there in Dallas, so I'm using that as my location at the moment.
I don't see it yet. Are you sharing?
Oh yeah, I think I am. Oh, I have to actually, there we go. You should see it now.
I do.
So there might be some interesting passes going there now. There's one coming up. Well, I'm showing 32 minutes, but is that right? Hang on. Let's double click this one. Okay, so this one's coming across in 17 minutes, and you can see the path that it's going to take. But I've got several that I've in the satellite definitions. I basically have checked. You can see the boxes on the left that are checked, and these are the ones that I'm interested in. And when I come back over here to this screen, I can say, show me all of those instead of just tracking the current one. Show me all of those, which I have in this list here. And then it gets really busy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So most of us don't like that level of busyness in our lives, but at least it will show you the one that is approaching, and it gives you a better chance to go and look. I'm going to unbusy the screen and take it back to the one I'm interested in. So that'll come along, and then when you want to tune to it, I'm going to click the tuning dial. I'm going to say, okay, go ahead and start controlling the transceiver. I happen to be using an FT991A here, so I'm not doing full duplex. I've got another radio here that I could do full duplex with, but it's an FM satellite, so it's not that hard. And then you can see, actually, this is a linear transponder satellite, and I could get the beacon. I could just double click here, and it would take me to the beacon. And so I'll start to listen for the beacon. When the satellite's near, it'll actually start talking to me. So I have the announcements up here set to come on. It'll say 2 minutes till the satellite passes. Then it'll say 1 minute, and then it'll eventually tell you that the satellite is in view. And then you can see in the lower right-hand side where you've got, we call it the radar, but basically it'll show you the path of the satellite as it passes there.
Yep.
If I pull this up, it'll show me the passes that are coming, and we'll follow that one. If I go to the ISS specifically, that's we've probably got another what's looking like 12 hours until that's going to pass over Dallas. So we can see it's out over the North Pacific right now.
There's a question. Smiley in the Solomon Islands. What's that for? The smiley
that's
face?
That's where the sun is.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. I don't know if I've done this before. I think there's a way that you can apply the gray line to this thing if you want to see it that way.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, and the moon is over, basically over the Middle East at the moment. You can see that above the radar there.
I see it. Yep, indeed.
And people use this for EME as well. So you can, the moon obviously doesn't, travel as fast as a satellite does, but
you track
you can use it for EME. Yeah,
absolutely. Right on. All right.
Yep. So that's it. I mean, I was, it pulls down the latest Kepler. Someone asked me recently.
Oh, good. Yeah.
How do you get all the new satellites?
Yep.
Well, the answer is you just download and it'll download it automatically on a periodic basis, but you can force it to download. It'll pick it up from NASA. I've got NASA and the NORAD, or the AMSAT and the NORAD satellites enabled to pull those down. So you can go to this screen for all the ones that you have selected, like I showed a while ago. It'll show you in a complete visual, screen which ones are coming next. I kind of keep this up if I'm interested. The other cool thing is you can just click on this, and it will put it over another screen. Bring it over here. It'll give you a list. So in case you want to kind of print that off and tape it next to the monitor, if you want to see it, if you're off doing other things, you can kind of say, "Oh." I think we got through hopefully we got through the satellite.
I think we did. So with that said, you've already kind of hinted at it, and we heard the audio in the background of HRD notifying you when there's an opening. So I myself, among doing FT8 and voice, it doesn't matter to me. I like when I hear like there's a DX opening or there's a DXpedition or something interesting to go chase down and get in the log. Yeah. How does HRD help with chasing down those interesting contacts?
Yeah, it's actually one of the greatest parts about the software, in my opinion. When you look at my screen here, I'm actually showing the DX cluster at the moment. So a lot of the stuff you're looking at here has green check marks, which is for me good, because it basically, a green check mark means that for whatever that is, whether it's DX country, grid, band mode, whatever, zone, it means I've worked it and confirmed it. That's what the green one means. So if you look over here under grid, you'll see some of these are red, which means I've never worked that particular grid on that band.
Mm-hmm.
If it's yellow, it means I've worked that grid on that band, but I've never confirmed it. And with zones, you see band in mode, CQ zone, band in mode, ITU zone, band in mode, grid, so on.
And we're looking at HRD logbook right now, right?
That's right. And so I'm seeing data coming in right now from I'm going to start WSJTX so I can at least kind of get.
And then for anybody that's not new to ham radio, DX means like long distance contact. It means like international contacts. Really, those, when somebody says I work the world with this radio and antenna, that's kind of what they're saying when they mention DX. So Ham Radio Deluxe will help you find those interesting DX contacts, is what Mike is showing here.
Yep. Right. And so it's talking to me right now. I mean, here's one that just came up, and I have to be careful that I don't talk too loud because I know that you can't hear this. You can't hear it, but I can hear it. So it's when it comes through to me in my speaker, in my headphones loud.
Uh-huh.
But right here where it's showing Chad.
Yeah.
This is a country that I need for 80 meters. So this
cool. X
where it says band. So if I double click this, you'll notice that the rig retunes, and up here in the far right, it'll go to 3510 CW.
Oh,
so I'm
cool.
going to double click.
Okay.
And so as I double click, it automatically changed the frequency and mode of the radio. It did a lookup over here for this call sign, which because I don't see it here, it's not in QRZ.
Mm-hmm.
If I let me go in the one underneath of it, I'll double click that one, Singapore, and we can see over here on the left. I know that you love geography and stuff like that. So let me show you something cool. So if I click here on Singapore, it'll bring up, I got to drag it over. It'll bring up the wiki page for whatever country that is. Let me resize this a little bit. So if you wanted to find out more about Singapore, you can kind of go through this, and it's kind of cool because if you went and clicked on other ones like back to Chad, for example, I can click on Chad and it'll take me to the wiki page for Chad, and I can learn about Chad. I can see where it is. I can find out what languages they speak. Back to the guy in Singapore for a moment. Double click on that. He's got his actual coordinates in QRZ. So if I click on that, it'll launch Google Earth and maximize this a little bit so it's a little bit more interesting.
Oh, cool.
To look at. But it'll take me directly to where this guy is located, which is kind of cool. And I can kind of scroll in if I want to see what his working conditions look like.
Let's look at his antenna. Let's see if we can see his antenna.
Exactly that. Exactly that. I mean, I've done this at Hamfest, and people go, oh my gosh, you can actually do that. And my youngest granddaughter said, do people care that you do that? And I don't think they care. So let's do something interesting here.
Well, regardless if they care, that's still, it's allowed, right? Because, it's on the...
Yeah, and here's what's interesting. So we find this bloke here, Josh.
Oh, no, he's doxed me. He's doxed me live.
And so, but this is what's interesting, because I did this earlier, and this is really fun. So it's we're traversing across the Pacific.
I wonder what it's going to show me right now.
Southern California, and when we get to Southern California, we can go down and see what kind of working conditions Josh is operating.
Excellent.
Under. And initially I'm thinking, man, this is a nice place.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Then I'm looking, and it's actually is the post office.
It's my PO box. That's where my PO box is. So I did it right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm seeing here, and I'm going to bring up. Let me get connected to a radio, and for the demonstration, I'm going to use remote ham radio, which if I should probably plug them a little bit. They've been really good to us. So just so that I can grab a radio in the United States here, and I'm going to go to 20 meters FT8. So if anybody's listening they want to go find me here on, I'm going to be operating with my US call sign.
And you're on which band? 20 meters, or you're going to 10?
20 meters FT8.
20 meters, okay.
I could go to 10. Is 10 still hopping to
I don't know.
Asia right now?
I don't know. I pulled, I think the rain stopped. I'll bring my antenna back online.
Let me see here. Let's see what's going on there. Oh yeah, they're still good. They're still, let's do that. We'll go to 10 meters FT8. And so now I've got some decodes coming in here. You can see this going on, right?
Oh, okay.
And
so
now
it's,
I can see
it's bringing it into HRD. The decodes?
Right.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I don't have this set up appropriately then.
So
okay.
as the decodes come through here, and I put WSJTX up here just for the purpose of being able to show in real time, we're bringing in these decodes, and they're automatically showing in HRD alert. And you can see even the county is being populated really fast over here. So all this stuff happening in real time. Now I need Malaysia. And if I come over here, and it's really busy. People say, oh yeah, but the screen's really busy. Filter it down to only the things you want to see. So right now I've taken all that data and I only want to see the stuff I need to work. Now I'm gonna pick a good spot in the waterfall here and make sure I can actually. I'm gonna go to about 1300. Looks good. And you can't hear it, but in the background, I'm hearing the stations or the alerts that are going off.
Yeah.
The alerts that are going off in my head. So you can see I double click down here. Automatically, I haven't touched WSJTX. Automatically, it's sending the request to WSJTX to go ahead and send, a call to that station. And as that station responds, if that station responds, hopefully it will, because I actually need West Malaysia for, this would be an opportune moment, Josh, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
While that's happening, I will show you my DXCC totals.
Okay.
I'm gonna minimize.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's do it live here. Question while you're pulling it up. Somebody asked, can you filter on Poda, Parks on the Air, in some way?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and I'll show you how to do that. So
you made Don happy.
The opportune moment is that my total band country count is 2,299. So you can see that down here. And so he's not calling me it. So the nice thing about this is that it's basically this on your show would be my 2,300th band country.
Oh,
I started the no joke. I started the year with 2019.
Wow.
So this year, if I drag this down to just this year, I've worked 223 countries, 638 band countries. If I went over, so if I could, if I'm back here, I've worked 335. I've confirmed 335. That's why I get all the green check marks. But if I wanted to see which ones is it that I don't have, well, I don't have these 5, and they're either uninhabited or ham radio isn't permitted on these things, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with my words. And then for the year, I've got 226 CQ marathon countries.
Now, so I would like to tell everybody, we're kind of drinking from the fire hose a little bit here. Obviously, this is some depth. Mike is showing off like what the capability is. Again, Ham Radio Deluxe YouTube channel, go to their channel, subscribe, and they've got more videos and the tool itself. Mike already showed that there's all kinds of how-tos on how to set all this up. So it's all easy to do. Here we go. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Here we go.
Number 2,300 on your show, Josh.
All right.
I'm thrilled that this is
cool
happening on your show. Now, notice on the left-hand side here, where it says B4 over here.
Yeah.
When this guy goes into my log, all these B4s will change to yellow yield
Oh,
signs.
there it is. RRR. Wait, is it RR?
Right. Check it out.
Oh, he's
Check
got
it
to
out.
be
Yep.
RR73. Let's go. Yep, you got it. You
Boom,
got
done.
it.
Boom, done. Now watch this. If I go over into my awards tracking,
Yeah.
it now says 2,300.
All
Woo-hoo!
right.
Isn't that awesome? There's also another one. So if I look at this one here, the Singapore, this one is well, now I got people calling me. See?
Yep.
Now this.
Well, now you got everybody that they're all watching the show right now, and they're trying to track you down.
Hopefully, yeah. So I'm going to change the view here, and then somebody asked about Poda, and I'll show that. I'm going to change to show me only the stations calling CQ or calling me. So right now I've got 2 stations calling me, and it's going to start getting busy in a moment. And you can see up here in WSJTX, there's a lot more. I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't even need it at this point.
Yeah.
All I really need is this stuff here. And I can see now I've got some things that are going to change, and you saw those change. Now I'm going to change to calling me. Now, the only reason why I really would want to see WSJTX now is that I want to see when this yellow thing, when am I stop sending? Because I'm going to now respond back to this one. So I double clicked on this one down here. You can see up in WSJTX, it's automatically starting to queue this one up. It's going to send as soon as this last guy responds. We're done. Now we're sending the next one. So now over here in this window, you can see probably, and I don't know how many unique calls there are, but now I've probably
got a ton.
Different stations.
You got a ton of people calling you
from
Japan,
China, and Japan. And,
wow.
Indonesia. So this is what's fun, because now I would normally want to show me the ones calling CQ.
Right.
Now I'm beyond that, because now they're calling me.
Right.
I'm just going to show the ones that are calling me. Now I click this, and it'll light those up. Now, when this goes back from yellow, I'm going to double click this one, and I'll start up the QSO with the station in China. Okay, now I'm going to double click there, queues it up in WSJTX. And like I said, I don't particularly need to have WSJTX on my screen. I'm actually going to move it out of the way.
Yeah.
Because I can see it somewhere else. And but as these stations call me and answer me, I'm able to work them from right out of HRD alert.
Here's a question, since you're here already. WSJTX is kind of like a USB hog. It wants to control the port for your radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is HRD doing to kind of get in the middle of the whole game?
Very good question. Very important, because what trips people up sometimes.
Yeah, because I need this kind of automation.
There's that one.
Yeah. And you're killing it right now. You got so many people calling you.
I know. I'm gonna keep it going.
Yeah. But show us all how you do this. What's the secret magic here that you've done?
Yep. So within WSJT alert, you come down here to settings. I got to drag it over from the other screen. Yeah. And under radio, you want to set ham radio deluxe.
Ah, interesting. Fascinating. Okay.
What trips people up is because that's the integration between WSJTX and the ham radio deluxe,
right?
For radio, is you use that. You really don't want to pick the radio, because then one or the other is going to have the COM port, and you won't be able to use it.
So HRD is the go-between between WSJTX and your radio.
Well, there's a path between between WSJTX. Yeah. I'll call another one here.
I'll just ask it, because again, we're all looking at this, and I think this is going to be a question that just is inevitable. There's an app called Grid Tracker. You've probably heard of it, right?
Yep.
So, what is there anything like that in the future of HRD that's going to give Grid Tracker, or are you doing it now and I just don't know about it?
Yeah, you asked a great question. I'm going to show you what we're doing. So, I mentioned earlier that we have this other application called Mapper. That I get a lot of the JAs. They're still coming. I'm just putting them in the log.
So for anybody who's familiar with California, we get a lot of JAs calling us when we're out there, but you probably get them like crazy.
Yes. Well, I get them so right now I'm actually running a radio that's based in Tacoma.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
or actually, I'm sorry,
West Coast.
the one I'm on now is Portland. So,
Oh, okay. Yep.
West Coast. So I'm hearing the GA is pretty loud here. You can see the signals are, well, some of them are, but
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
so back on point. We have this mapper application, and you can plot all of your QSOs
Oh,
in this mapper
cool.
application. It's been around for a while, and we're going to revamp this after the first of the year. We've already started on it,
Mm-hmm.
but my vision for this is that it will be a combination of what you see in Grid Tracker. So it'll automatically animate the path between the stations that are having QSOs.
Mm-hmm.
All the kinds of information will be there. I mean, you already have what it calls the roster over here in this, right? So you're already seeing
Mm-hmm.
the QSOs. But in this application, we're not only going to add in the animation of the QSO paths, but we'll add in solar propagation, maximum usable frequency, all that stuff like you might see in Geochron. And
Yes.
we
Yes.
intend to be able to allow you to send this out of your PC in high definition, so you can put it on a TV screen if you wanted to put it on a TV screen. So that's what we're going to do with Mapper. But
Now,
aside from being able to animate the path between two stations, effectively this does everything else.
yeah, there's a question in the chat. I think it was from Dawn. Dawn always asks really good questions. Grid Tracker is based off of like PSK Reporter, right? PSK
Yeah.
Reporter.
Yeah.
Any chance that we may get that kind of capability in the future? Anything like that?
Yeah, if you're using DM780, DM780 already sends its data to Grid Tracker.
Mm-hmm.
But if I look over here, so the screen I'm looking at with all the red here, this is HRD alert. So these are
Right.
stations calling me.
Right.
But if I were to go over to the DX cluster, which is what I'm looking at here, it's connected to my DX cluster, which is connected to the reverse beacon network. So we're already getting, if I unfilter this, and we limited it at a 2,000 or 1,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
But all this data is coming in from the reverse beacon network from about 25 different DX clusters around the world. So between my cluster and VE7CC, the majority of DX spots in the world are flowing through one of those two clusters, and we're connected together. So what we haven't done is give a dedicated window or pane for just the stuff coming in from PSK Reporter. We could probably do that. It's just I haven't gotten around to doing that.
So this might be a good time to go back to that previous question about parks on the air, right? But everybody's.
Oh yeah.
So another good question from Dawn. Thanks for the question. So parks on the air, we get a ton of people out there now doing Poda. And sure, if they don't put Poda in their CQ call, we probably can't distinguish it. But
right.
Can you do that? What do you do here? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, let me show you.
You're getting blown up, man. You're getting blown up. Good feel. It's a good feeling.
The great news
You're
is
popular.
This audio device. I know this audio device is hanging in there. I'm just gonna come over here. But the point I guess I was trying to make over here with this is, if I'm looking at this screen, as soon as these yield signs these X's turn into yield signs, I go to the next station that's calling me. If I want to sit here all day, I'm just racking them up. I mean, if you can see over here under Logbook of the World Sent says no. If I just highlight these, I can upload them to Logbook of the World, and then they'll show yes. But I mean, basically, after a session of working a bunch of DX, I'll eventually upload them all because it's what we all do, right?
Right.
And then I'll show you the Poda thing here. Let me unfilter this for a moment. So now I have more people calling me, which is great. I'm having fun.
Good.
If I go to options, you can create WSI filters or decode filters.
Okay.
And one of the things I'm going to do here is drag this back over on the screen. So when I clicked on add, let me do that again. When I clicked on add, I can type in, I can give it a name, and I'll put in here Poda. Whoops, or give it a no. And when I do that, anybody, and I use that filter, I'm gonna see where I'm at. Okay, people may have stopped and figured it out. If I come down here and select Poda, it will only show me Poda stations that have put Poda in their data. To your point, there's no other way to filter it. But let me come over here to DX cluster while I go ahead and tell him to work me. I think I have a Poda one. No, but let's create one out of DX cluster. And the same thing, only it's called spot filters here. I'm going to click on this and drag this back over again. I'm going to do the exact same thing. And since it's, what's it, Saturday there?
Yes.
So there may be some Poda activity still.
We're still in yesterday here. 20 meters is booming. I'm pointing east now, so you've got me excited. So I've already set it up to do this the right way. So now I've got.
Oh, I'm on 10. I'm on 10 now.
Oh, you're on 10. Okay, well.
Yeah, I've been on 10.
So you're on 10 in Tacoma, you said, right? Okay, I'll see if I can. Swing at you here.
So, so I've got that set up, but it just now, if I enabled that one, it turns out there just aren't any Poda stations with DX spots out right now. So, but it would work the same way if I select CW, it'll show me the CW ones because CW is in the comment field. If I select digital, it'll show me just the digital ones if it's got FT8 or FT4 and so on. If I select phone, it'll show me the, USB, SSB ones. And so similarly, it would show me Poda if there were any Podas out there. Oh, what? Okay, that
looks like 10 is dead out here right now.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
40's good. Yes. Or 20's good.
I wonder if I still have when someone called me last. It's been a minute. Oh, that was actually the one I finished up. So, yeah. But that, like I said, if I go, let me pull up my, let me see if I can pull up my, because everybody's using Club Log, right? So,
right, that's what I use generally. Yeah,
Club Log account. And I want to see my DXCC chart. See now how it shows 2300 when we worked the 2300th one a while ago. So it's automatically uploaded. And all these numbers match to what's in my DXCC awards in Radio Deluxe logbook. I can see how I'm doing for the year. If I want to, check in on my CQ marathon status, I change the year, add 60 meters, click that, and I'm at 223 for the year. So, with the Club Log ones will go up automatically. I go over here into my logbook of the world one, and I want to see the awards for my US call. I've got a bunch of them that I could probably turn in because I've got 59 waiting. But I want to see if I've got anybody who's sent me QSLs while I've been on the air today. And there's been a few. So if I went over here and clicked on download, this is downloading from Logbook of the World. You could download from EQSL, or you could download from hrdlog.net. And it's showing me no match for this VK station because I made that with my VK call sign. So that's okay.
Sure.
And it updated them, and we're good to go. I can see over here, I added the column that shows me whether or not they've been confirmed or not. And yeah, interestingly enough, earlier today, as I was getting ready for the show, I worked Pitcairn Island. So this is
cool. Good one.
Morel de War.
Yeah.
And, watch this. So if I right click on this and come down to look up Google Earth, it will show me the path.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it draws the line.
Yeah.
Really cool. if I go back and let's say I want to go to all these JAs that I put in the log or the ones that are in Southeast Asia, I'm going to highlight them like this, right click, look up Google Earth, and it'll show kind of a multi-path view of all this stuff. I'm gonna have to scroll the thing up to, because it's a long way. So there's Dallas coming up over Alaska, all the way over into
Wow.
Asia.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool how that stuff works.
Yeah, so let's take a minute here and come up for a second and to explain to
Come up
people.
for air?
Oh, yeah, that was fast and furious. I appreciate that. So there was a lot of questions on kind of explaining the cost structure, right? So there's a yearly license, which again HRCC 25.
Well, there's a perpetual license.
Yeah, and I need you to explain this, but I want to remind everybody there's a coupon code HRCC 25 at checkout. We'll get you 25% off. And thanks to Michael and Lindy for setting that up. But go ahead, explain, and maybe come out of the screen share for a second so you can do it, so people understand fully.
Yep, sure. So what we sell is a perpetual software license, meaning that if you buy the software, you're entitled to run it forever. And because that's what the license entitles you to do. We do it a little bit different from what Microsoft does, because Microsoft would sell a license and then you were only licensed for that version. But with our software, we distribute the bug fixes and performance improvements for free. So if you bought I've got customers that bought the software in 2013 that haven't bought any new services from us, and I'll get to that in a moment, but they keep downloading the new versions and installing them, and it's all fine. They still continue using the software. But when you buy the software, you get the perpetual software license, and you get the right to all the features that we release to the end of that 12-month period. Does that make sense?
I think so. So to me, it does. Yeah. Anybody in the chat, further questions, drop them.
For example, if for the gentleman who bought from us in 2013, he downloads the latest version of the software, and if he tries to run HRD alert, it's going to tell him that he doesn't have access to that feature. Some people, like the guy from 2013, may not care. He may be using JT Alert or Grid Tracker, and he's fine with what he's got. It's all good.
Right.
Great. If that's the case, keep downloading the versions of Radio Deluxe as we release them, and have a great time using the software, because that's what it was meant to do. Now, if at some point along the way, and what my hope is that we will come out with new features that people will want to use, which not only would sell more new customers, but existing customers will say, "Oh, cool! I want that new feature." And so they'll buy a renewal of the 12 months of software maintenance and support. We've changed the name. We call it new features and support because it makes more sense. But if you take the guy from 2013, he's been using the software for 9 years. He's having a great time. He hasn't paid us for any renewal. That's fine. Keep using the software. Suddenly he's decided, oh, this HRD alert thing is cool. I want to use that. He buys the renewal. The renewals are half price of the full version. So if we're selling retail at $100, the renewals are $50, and you can find coupons for this that get it down to, probably 40 or something like that, maybe a little bit less. And at that point, he's got a brand new 12 months. He's got new features for the next 12 months, and he can call us for support if he needs anything during that period of time. And at the end of that 12 months, he could go another 9 years and keep using the software.
I love that pricing model. It really encourages people to just kind of like really only buy in if they want your updates.
Exactly.
So that encourages you to bring new interesting features, right? I mean, that's kind of what a great. I hate to say capitalism. I know that's almost a four-letter word these days. But what a capitalistic model of, like, the only way you continue to get these re-ups on licenses is if you keep bringing out new interesting content. Beautiful. I love it.
Right, and if we don't deserve their money.
I love it. I love it. I mean, that's great.
Another thing that we did, which was a feature, is that if I highlight these, they've already gone through the lookup process, but now we've got bulk call sign lookup. So let's say, for example, you were using, I'm going to exit out of this, but
yeah.
You can decide that you're going to do lookups for, as many calls as you want. But let's say that you were using, N3FJP as your contest logger, and you got your ADIF file and you import it into HRD logbook, and you don't have the lookups in there. You don't know their name. You don't know their location. You just select them all and you do the bulk lookup, and it sends it through the lookup choices, and off you go. And we by the way, support a lot of different lookup choices. So you can use, I pulled it up so you can see it, but you can use QRZ.
You'll have to share if you want to show that. You have to share. You're not sharing right now. Yeah. Take a quick minute for John Pearl. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. We're at the point where I think, we're not really running long because we had a little break there in the action, but I do want to get to the questions that people that. Yeah, please go for it.
Let me show you one more thing, and then happy to take questions. There's only one thing really that I haven't shown. So I'm going to double click on this one here. Well, let me not do that because I don't want to be sitting. So if I wanted to, let me do a more kind of real life. Let me do this CW one. Well, it'll stop it. There we go. So I double clicked on this. It does the lookup over here.
Right.
If I want to put them in the log as a CW QSO, then I click on logbook and it puts it over here. Now I needed to, since I had to restart the applications, I'm going to reconnect to the rotor. The point here is.
There you go.
All right, so
yeah, you got your rotor. For everybody watching, he's got his rotor connected to what he's doing, right? So it can technically adjust as he needs to, which is just fascinating. It's super cool.
Right. So now I would put this one in the log, and if I clicked on the rotator button here, you can see down in the lower right-hand side, it's going to start rotating the rotor to 40 degrees, which is the path to that particular station.
And for those that don't understand what's going on here, a rotor is a physical device that rotates beam antennas. So he's basically turning his antenna to point to the intended contact, and there's the image for it. Look at that. That shows you the path. Looks like short path that he's taking to get to that station.
It is.
Short path is relative in this case. It's almost equidistant, but yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
If for example, if I wanted to just point to South America, I come down here.
Oh, look at that.
That's
so cool. That's so cool.
When I double click, off it goes to South America, right?
That's the physical. That's a physical turning of the antenna, rotating to match the.
I could show you right now, probably, if I wanted to pick up the camera.
No, yeah.
But lastly, if I heard, let's say I heard Bahrain on the air, and I don't know whether Bahrain is in Europe or Africa or South America, whatever. If I just come over here and click on this one, it will go ahead and take me to that country. So I don't have to know where the country is because the software knows where it is. So that kind of completes the that completes the story there.
Man, Mike, I knew just having you on, we're gonna have to have you on again because there's no way we could do it all in 1 hour. There's no way. So yeah, there you go.
It's kind of tough.
Oh,
I'd love to schedule some time where I can work some satellites.
That would be great. I would love that, and I think everybody wants to see more of that with the ISS full duplex repeater running right now. It's the time to hit that up if you can. So
it is fun.
We got a ton of questions. Tons.
We did on our YouTube channel. You can find a YouTube where I talked to somebody through the International Space Station.
I did. I watched that video. I loved it. I did a bit of a deep dive on your channel. Good stuff. Really good stuff. By the way, everybody, again, Ham Radio Deluxe, go check out their YouTube channel. The little cocktail beginning stuff where you're mixing up the old fashions and all that. I was like, yeah. And then you had Buffalo Trace as your favorite with bourbon. I was like, all right, good call, man. I love it.
Can't beat it.
Good. It's very solid, very consistent. So, question was, we got a ton of them. So this one came from James. When you were out the first time, I took a bunch of questions. So James asked, "Can HRD work or control WinLink?" That's an interesting one.
No, I've actually had that. I'm going to make a note of it here.
Yeah, and I could send these questions to you too after the fact, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, I actually have had, over the course of the last 5 years, probably 2 people ask about WinLink. And so we've actually, in this calendar year, have moved the development to a team of developers. And it's the first time we've had a full team of developers, which is why we're rebuilding Logbook from the ground up.
Right.
And we'll start doing more of this, and it'll allow us to do things like WinLink more quickly.
I'll bump this question up because it got asked a couple of times. Obviously, this is a Windows right now as the primary platform. I saw the video you did with Lindy where you're talking about Mac OS. Lindy, I'm a Mac OS user as well. I edit all my videos on Mac OS. Livestream is all Windows, but still. So potentially Mac OS in the future. What about Linux?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if we can compile it for Mac, we can compile it for Linux. I asked the manager who's running our development right now, I said, what would it take to get a Mac version out?
Yeah.
And she said, well, we could do it within, once we rewrite this Logbook thing so it's no longer using Access, we could probably do it in 90 days.
Yeah, because it's not based to Microsoft then. So it frees you up to any. I love it. I love it.
That said, there's still a number of things that I'd like to tackle. I mean,
of course, but
yeah, it's still on our books. It's now I can see it on the horizon, so that's a good thing.
Excellent. And I think hopefully that satiated a bit of the Linux folks. Linux people can be fairly voracious in the chat, so we have to be careful with them.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So the other question is,
at Dayton, they put us right next to the Linux booth. So
oh, Linux in the Ham Shack guys, those guys. Yeah. I like those guys.
They're great.
Yeah, they're
great.
So free trial availability. Is there any free trials out there?
Yeah, there's a 30-day free trial. It's fully functional. It's not crippled at all, so you can run it for 30 days. You can do a trial once every 6 months. So if you tried it at some point in the past, so long as it was more than 180 days ago, you can try it again. If you have any question about, whether it's going to support your radio or whether it's going to work with your stuff, I highly recommend the trial, and you can go to hamradiodeluxe.com/trial, I think, and that's where you find it.
All right. So Renee asks about the Xiegu X6100 to be supported. Is that something on the horizon? And that's a very specific radio, I know, but
it is, and the 90 as well. So we have people using them with Kenwood settings. I think it's, if memory serves me, it's the Kenwood TS480, maybe.
Okay.
But we, basically those radios are using the Kenwood command set. I just can't tell you which one. One of the things that we're going to do after we get Logbook rewritten is we'll rewrite rig control. For many years, I've been frustrated about how long it takes us to add new radios. The 710 just came out from Yaesu.
That's right.
I want to add that one.
Yeah, of course.
What we're going to do is, current state, a developer has to get the command set for the radio and code all the radios into code.
Right.
Into code. We're going to separate that out so that the actual command files are in XML and they exist separately, so that it doesn't require a developer to create the radio, that I could do it, or one of our tech support or beta testers create the command set, and we just publish it, and then people will get it just like they get the country list downloads or any other updates to the software.
Very good. This is an interesting one. Jody, thank you. Jody's one of our rockstar question providers. Asked for software updates. Any chance of setting them up as in-app updates instead of directing the user to a website to download a file manually? And maybe if they're like in the license period or the the update period where they can do it in-app, that might be a curiosity, right?
There in the next release, it's already been built out.
Ooh, all right.
An update reminder that comes up, so you don't have. One of the things that we send out email reminders telling people that there's an update, or
Yeah.
in the newsletters that I do. The newsletters have about a 98% delivery rate and about a 35% open rate. So when we get this in the application, you won't have to worry about getting a newsletter email to tell you the release is there. Then it'll just show up and you can get it within the app.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Dawn asked another question, and I'm not sure I fully understand this one, Dawn. This is probably a little bit in the weeds for me. HRD support for TCI, which is Transceiver Control Interface for the Sun and a NAN radios, and will it work with Grid Tracker? Grid Tracker was a question that came up quite often. I think we covered that a little bit, but to the TCI question.
Yeah, to the TCI question, for every video we post on our YouTube channel, I get that question.
Do you? Okay.
And it's likely the same person asking.
It's Dawn. It's Dawn every time. A member of the Dawn Army. The Dawn Army runs strong. That's right.
But we will absolutely do that. It's just that we're not going to be able to do that until we start to crack open rig control and make those changes there. But that'll happen sometime in the first half of next year. And by the way, Grid Tracker, Grid Tracker works great with our software. You do have to go and enable multicasting. Unfortunately, it's not something we can control, so it's kind of one of those nerdy network things that you have to do on a Windows side.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. I'll try and figure that out, because I generally
I can't help but notice, by the way, that Lindy is in chat trying to take up for the. She's trying to take up for the Mac users.
She's kicking butt right now. She's answering questions. She's doing a great job. So good job, Lindy. Thank you for hopping in there. So we answered the Linux question. Okay, so this was a really good one, and it took me a second to line myself up, but I think I get it. Web browser for accessing on your pad or other PC without having to load the software. And so I think where they're going with this, and this might be a high-minded future update, is that you have you have your shack computer, right?
Right.
So I got my shack computer, but what if I wanted to take my iPad and go sit in my massage chair, which is what I do every day, right? So how can I run my radio from there potentially? This is a big future idea, I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I do. I run TeamViewer. So I have TeamViewer running on my shack PC, and then I can get to TeamViewer from any other PC. I can get to TeamViewer from my laptop if I travel. I've actually been on a flight with TeamViewer running on my laptop, and I'm flying, from Australia to the United States, and I'm working DX, and I do it with an iPad or another laptop.
Right on.
That's my suggestion right now. We'll eventually have a native version for that that'll work, and whether or not you're running it on an iPad or the Chrome desktop, and so on.
Very good.
By the way, the previous question, 5 is the answer.
What's that? Oh,
5 is the answer to the other question.
So Dawn asked, licensing one price for multiple PCs. So it's 5 PCs for your license to get HRD. You get 5 PCs.
Yeah, but let me be clear. That means you can run it on 5 simultaneously. So it doesn't mean that once you activate it 5 times, you're done. You have to buy more.
Right.
That never happens. And if you get to the 5th one, we actually send people when they attempt to go over 5, we send them the system sends them an email telling them how to fix it.
Very good clarification. Very good clarification. Okay, so Jazz for a Shale asks, and it sounds like they're already a user. Need logbook shortcut key to add a contact. Does that?
I understand that.
Maybe they mean a shortcut key to make a log entry.
Well, let me. The closest thing, if they want to expand on that a little bit, but let me show you something. If I have, hopefully you can see what I got going on here. If I'm in the DX cluster here, and let's say I'm going to get to the CW ones, I guess, probably because it makes more sense. If I right click and say new ALE window, that brings that up. That's a method to pull up an ALE quickly. I don't know if that's the context of the question or not.
Do it again. I didn't have you on full screen, so go more.
Yeah, no worries. I've got the DX cluster down here, and if let's just say I work this guy and I want to put him in the log, I right click on it, and then say new log window, and it'll pull that up.
What if you're just working a rando that you found on the air and you want to just bring up a blank log window to do that?
Just click that one there.
Okay. Is there a keyboard to do that? A keyboard command?
Oh, okay. Well, in other words, like Control A for add or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I got a lot of questions asking me if Ham Radio Deluxe will run on the $60 Micro Center laptop that I featured in a video. So I will take on the task to find that out. There's a $60 laptop that you can buy at Micro Center. That's full Windows. And so I will load Ham Radio Deluxe on it and see how well it runs.
How much memory's it got?
4 gig.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found is that if you're just running rig control and logbook, it works fine with 4 gig. When you start doing a lot of decodes in DM780, you kind of need more than that.
Sure.
But Let me know what you find out.
I think that's reasonable. It's a $60 laptop. We don't expect a lot from it.
Well, I get people asking, does it run on Raspberry Pi? Well, first of all, it's not Linux, but when it is Linux, I still think it's going to be too big for a Raspberry Pi.
It's going to chug. Yeah, if you tried to run everything, it'll chug for sure. CC asks, will there be any new radio faceplates? It's nice that all radios seem to be the same. And yes, I know, I saw this video, so I think the answer is yes and.
Yeah, let me show you something if I can find it. But the answer is, while I'm pulling this up, one of the cool things about the main logging or the main rig control screen is I've got Yaesu radios, Icon radios, I've got a Kenwood radio. The nice thing about having our rig control screen is that it looks the same regardless of what radio you're using.
That's true.
If you get to radios like I've got a FT857D here, I've used an ICOM IC706. To get to things, it's pretty deep in these menus a lot of times, right?
Right.
So the nice thing about having a familiar looking screen is everything's in the same place and you don't have to go hunting for it. However, let me see if I can find, if I can't find it quickly, then I'll probably have to give it to you and you can share it or something.
Yeah. Or you could just say yes.
Actually, what's going to happen is that we're going to have a version of the software that will allow you to show the radio like it looks in front of your face.
Oh,
so,
okay. So like when I'm doing my 7610, that's just I can pipe it into a
exactly. I mean, it won't be the radio, but it will be it'll be laid out like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so the answer is yes. So there you go.
Yes.
Dawn, another question, asking for sneak peeks as you're coming up with these updates. I'm assuming you already mentioned you have a blog for letting people know, you have emails for letting people know when there's updates, but is there like a blog or something where you're kind of like sneak peeks,
we have
teasing it out a little bit?
We do that a bit on I do that on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
But I also send out newsletters, and the newsletters almost always get republished on the blog link on hamradiodeluxe.com.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those two things will kind of get you to the sneak peeks of things. When we're in development on something, I almost always, when I'm comfortable with a build that I can show off what's coming, I almost always put it up on our YouTube channel. It's the best place.
Excellent. I love that. Yeah, keep doing that. The YouTube channel is great. Keep doing that. All right, so is there a maximum number of logs or contacts you can put into a log? And Cliff was asking this because I think he ran into trouble with other loggers when they hit like 10,000-ish logs.
Yeah, I mean, I got 10,000 in the one I'm using right here, and it's just fine. I've got customers.
Is there an upper limit that you know of?
Well, The upper limit literally is the upper limit of access right now,
Okay.
which is millions. I think it's 1 million rows or something.
Okay.
You're not going to do that in your lifetime, but the answer is
never say something like that, Mike. Never say something like that. Never.
Well,
as an engineer, I will tell you, never make a declarative statement like that.
I do see quite a few fully automated FT8 stations on multiple bands simultaneously right now.
That's scary.
And anyway, so those kinds of people might make it, but I've got people with 300,000 queues, and it's just fine. You can have multiple logs. Mm-hmm. I recommend against it. I have 2 logs right now, and only because I've got an Australian call sign and a U.S. call sign.
Sure.
So I keep them separate by country.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., I've lived in literally every major NFL city in the United States, and I have exactly 1 log. It makes most everything easier, particularly your DXCC tools.
So I need to ask this because the chat's asked multiple times. Alec, I got your first one on this one. All the kids these days, they can't run an application if it isn't dark mode. Can we do dark mode in the future of HRD?
Yeah, we'll definitely do dark mode.
Okay.
I haven't been able to get it because I was waiting on a number of other things in front of it. One of my competitors was asked about dark mode, and the response was, "Hey, you've got a brightness control on your monitor."
Oh, that's not no, that's not.
But
that's.
I was personally offended by that answer.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Yes, absolutely, we'll do dark mode. I can't tell you when it's sometime after the first of the year.
Half of these questions turned into like requests for features, I think, at some point. So.
Well, hey, that's a good news.
This is good. This is good.
And I'm taking notes right here, man. So I'm
right on. I love this.
Get this.
Question from Don again, another really good one. Node Red is blowing up, right? Node Red. Have you heard of Node Red? You've been following that at all?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
So I'm the wrong guy to really talk about this. There's a number of people that are using it. It is like a automation programming kind of suite that uses web displays for information, and it can cover different sensors and devices in your shack as kind of like a readout. So I think the question is like, is there some support where you can have like an overlay where it would be like a Node Red overlay or something like that? So that's a future. Yeah. Probably look into that one. All right. Okay. Here's a good one from Pete. Are there built-in tools to convert in or import data from another logging program like Log4OM, or would I need to use the HRD service to accomplish this task?
No. I'll share and show you that. While I'm sharing, mm-hmm. We do offer a service if people want someone. I've done a lot of conversions for people who are using DX for Win and DX Base, just older loggers that don't convert their data well. And so some of these people don't want to lose all the QSOs they've got in their logs. And we sell a service that my wife hates the idea, but basically I do the log conversion.
Oh no, that just takes up your time. That's why your wife hates it.
That's what she says. But 99% of people won't need it. So you basically go into logbook, file, import, ADIF. Let me drag the thing back onto the screen. And so basically you would just select the file you want to import. If it's a modern ADIF, it'll pick everything up properly. You want to pay attention to this stuff up here because if it's a log where you've had other locations in it, you don't want to use the insert log information or station, or it'll change the locations.
Right.
But just select it like I've got there, and that'll pull the data in nicely. And by the way, if you're going to use it, if you're going to do a trial of the software, and you're using some other logger right now, export the ADIF you've got from that. Import it in here. And get used to the thing like it runs.
Yeah, I did that with N3FJP when I was switching. I just exported from N3FJP and just brought it into Ham Radio Deluxe. It wasn't a problem. It's just NDI. There's multiple options. It's not just NDI. But somebody
asked a question. If you scroll, I mean, maybe you can see it and I can't. But there was a good question that's now skipped my mind. But which was back a page up or so.
What was it about?
I don't know. I thought it was a great question, but I had to.
Oh, I thought I would.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Is there a proper way to request features?
The Ham Radio Crash Course live stream with Dr. Mike. That's the proper way. No, I'm just kidding.
So, hey, I'm happy to take it that way too. But we take feature requests via email to support@hamradiodeluxe.com. And we're happy to take feature requests regardless of whether or not you're a current customer or a prospective customer or whatever the situation is. We're happy to take those requests. I put those requests in an online system called Mantis BT, which is the system that the developers work out of. And so you'll get a response that says, here's the tracking number for your enhancement request. And you'll see that as the development progresses on it.
Very good. I think let's take this as the last question. There was somebody who was asking if there's a way to do like an a la carte app kind of thing, where it's like you just get the control app or your Digimaster or the logger or something like that. Is that something that you've ever thought about, or is it maybe too weird to break it all up at this point?
Well, we've had questions about that, and someone said it's kind of like, you're in engineering, Josh, and so I'm sure you get these guys with vendors, right?
Where that scares me when people start talking about breaking things up with something that's been like under one application for its entire life, and you're like, oh, it's easy to just break it down into 3 separate things, right? It's like, oh no,
I had a vendor, and we had, let's say, 5 services through this vendor, and I said, what's my cost if I shut one of those services down? And the response was, well, the cost is really still the same. Okay, what if I shut 4 of them down? Well, the cost is still really the same.
Right.
In reality, it would cost us money to do that.
Yes.
But what I normally tell people is that what we're really selling here is Logbook. We give everything else away for free. Whether it's the rig control application or DM780 or the rotor control app or satellite. All of those things are really just a means to an end. It's a means to get the things into the logging program, because once you're in there,
right,
you've got the ability to track things towards awards and things that you might be interested into.
So Lindy answered the question I was just going to ask. So the code HRCC25 has an expiration date. It ends this month. So if you want the 25% off, you need to act now for your 25% off, which I think is a fantastic deal. Particularly,
we don't do that very often.
No, this is a really good deal, because remember, everybody, if at the end of the year that you're getting the license, you still get access to that last update, basically the last time you updated your software.
Well, you get access to the features that were in that last.
Right.
But you should still continue downloading the new versions, because that's how we're going to give you the bug fixes and feature performance. I mean, when this new Access version, we get rid of Access and we come out with the SQLite version. That's not a feature. So anyone who's used or bought it from us in the past, download it, enjoy the performance improvements and the other things that we're going to pack in there.
So there you go. Okay, so good clarification. So if you bought 2 years ago, right, and you kept up to date with the updates, and then the last month of your year for that license, you stopped downloading the updates. You're saying don't do that. Continue to update it,
right?
Because there's bug fixes.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right. That's how. I mean, we don't release them we don't have patches that live separately.
Right. So it's an all-inclusive
the only way. Right. But then again, like I said, if there's a feature that we release after that date, and you install a version later on, you won't have access.
You just can't access.
You may not care, and if you do care, then there's a path to get it to.
But you get the bug fixes, which I think is actually that's even like, I was already on board with the way you sold it as, if you like what we're producing and you think that is a good exchange for your money to get that feature, great, you can continue the license. But the bug fixes being inclusive of the original license, I think is fantastic and a good service to your customers. So that's great, Mike. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, man, one, let me just say thank you for sticking through all this, and you did fantastic, Mike. This was amazing. You ran into technical problems, and you came through like a champ. This is just amazing.
Well, thanks for having me, Josh. I love your channel.
This is awesome.
One of these days, like I said, when we know that there's an ISS pass happening
right
at the same time that let's do it, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. We'll have to talk about like what kind of antennas you run, because I only have verticals at the house right now for ISS, so I've got to figure out something better.
I don't know if this will work or not.
Oh, here we go. Oh man, Mike's going. Well, you got the blurry background. You got
hang on a second.
You got Zoom blurry background on. He's going hand cam right now, so we're getting crazy.
I can show you. You'll probably see the kangaroos out there too. But
yeah, but you got your blurry background on Zoom, so it's blurring it out.
Oh,
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I could take that off, but at the moment.
It's all right. We've been through enough, Mike. You've over-accomplished, man.
Trust me, it's not that impressive, but it's cool.
So everybody in the chat right now that's watching, make sure you take the link in the description to get access to the 25% off if you're interested, or just to go to the website for Ham Radio Deluxe and find out more. For everybody else too that hasn't already done this, we're going to end the live stream and then we're going to go to the after chat on Discord. I haven't talked to Dr. Mike about that yet, but he's been on long enough. I don't know if he wants to hang out, but maybe he'll join us. We'll chat. So Mike, hang on the line. Anything you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, just look, thanks to all of our customers and all of our supporters. We love our customers, and we really appreciate them, being with us.
Excellent. That's great. All right, I'm going to wrap up the show. Mike, hang on the Zoom, and we'll chat after we're done there. So I want to give a big shout out to all the Patreon supporters of the YouTube channel here, and helping me continue to do these live streams. I really do appreciate it. And this has been a really fun chat. I think this is like really, really cool. I'm interested to see how I will cut this all together to cut out those little slices in the middle. There's going to be I bet it's going to be a tight, like 75-minute show, which is really, really nice. Everybody that is watching right now, if you have any ham radio question, again, my channel exists to help people get started in ham radio and continue down an interesting, rewarding path in this hobby, which is just fascinating. Please consider joining us on the Discord. Our Discord is a 24-hour 24/7 server. There's always people out there that will answer questions to help you through. But for me right now, I'll be hopping over to the after chat, which is on the Discord. It's both a text chat and a live voice chat where we take your questions and answer whatever you need to know about the hobby and try and break it down in a way that's easy to understand, which is something I didn't necessarily have when I started out. And so that's why we try and do that now. But thanks to all the Patreons for allowing it to continue going forward. I will mention I did try and shoot a video today. I went to the park with my high dollar HTs, like this Kenwood D74, and the rain made it an absolute nightmare. So yes, we can effectively say with some testing that the rain can hurt RF performance. So I'll have to wait for things to dry out a little bit, and we'll try again really soon. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody. This is a fantastic show. I had a great time doing it, and I will talk to you hopefully on the Discord. Otherwise, hit us up in the comments. Let us know if you have more questions. By the way, your comments, if there are feature ideas, I'll get them over to Mike and Lindy, and they'll work with them. It sounds like they're really passionate about continuing to grow the feature set and get the right solutions for you as the user. So I will talk to y'all later. 73. Enjoy the memes. I'm playing you out. Take it easy, everybody.